And I am live on 9/11. Today is 9/11 2025. I have made several videos showing foreshadowing of 9/11 in Hollywood movies, and this is one of these issues that unfortunately a lot of Americans who live in the country that this terror attack happened. So it was a terror attack, only not by the people that a lot of people believe that it was. So there's false attribution at play, meaning there's a lot of Americans that still are asleep to the truth. They haven't woken up to the truth of 9/11. And I've made numerous videos on this topic, on this subject. And I've been dealing a lot with foreshadowing 9/11 attacks, showing foreshadowing. If you don't know what foreshadowing means in this context, foreshadowing means that the deep state, and this is one of the MOs, and I've been working to educate the masses on this. Anybody that listens will be told the truth. So the deep state will not control this from behind the scenes. They have an MO, a modus operandi, a way of operating, a pattern of behavior. And it's what? It's this. If they are planning to do something major, of negative, of major destructive impact, of major negative consequence, they will hide it in plain view. They will hint at what they're going to do before they do it. So 9/11 was an inside job. What does that mean? It's like a double entendre. It's like a double entendre. Say it's an inside job because it wasn't Al Qaeda. It wasn't a plot hatched and carried out by people from another country, from outside America. There were people from inside America that were part of the conspiracy, the plot to bring down the towers. And it was an inside job in another way. It wasn't airplanes. So how was it an inside job? In more ways than one. The official story is people from outside of America flew airplanes into the towers. So it was people from outside of America, the opposite of inside, that flew airplanes into the towers. And it was airplanes coming from the outside into the towers that brought down the towers after people from outside of America hijacked airplanes and flew them into the towers. That's not the truth. So there's a person who makes videos on this, Richard Gage, A&E 9/11 Truth. And he focuses more on the physics of 9/11 to poke holes in the conspiracy, like the steel girders and from an architect engineer standpoint, showing how it doesn't make sense. Now, the issue is people shouldn't need to be talked to by an architect to explain how the official story doesn't make sense. Face value for a person is not a sugarhead uh, zombie. Just look at the footage of World Trade Center collapsing, World Trade Center 7, and having seen what most people have seen, Vegas collapses. Meaning, even me in Sweden have a lot of the going up, a lot of the programming on cable would be like Discovery Channel, Mythbusters, or American shows. And like they show control demolitions and this. So even living in Sweden, I've seen on having a little bit of American news channels and TV networks, whatever. I've seen control demolitions. So here's the point. 9/11 was an inside job in more ways than one, like a double entendre. Saying 9/11 was an inside job sounds kind of simple and dumb, just like a slogan. But if you think about it, it's very accurate, and it's true in more ways than one. Meaning 9/11 was done by people from outside America, and they brought down the towers with explosives inside of the buildings. And I made several videos on this topic, and I'm not unlikely to make more. So the deep state that control America from behind the scenes, exert influence. Control might make it sound like you're saying that they control every person in every way. That's not what it means. I just have some coming. Yeah, exactly. There was nobody there, so I reckon somebody there hit the bell. I know. That's important. 9/11 was an inside job, and a lot of the a lot of people are still asleep to that. A lot of people are still asleep to that. Why? Because the agenda has worked, and the average matrix system, normie, zombie, sugarhead, vitamin C, scurvy, sugar brained, having a person, they haven't woken up to this. So here's the point: the deep state that control America planned 9/11 in advance, more than a decade before they did it, before they pulled it off. And the same deep state that control Hollywood and the media and politicians, they have an MO. So what is the deep state's MO? If they are planning to do something of major destructive consequence or major negative impact, they will hide it in plain view. They will foreshadow it. They will hint at it before they do it, which means before they did the pandemic, which was a planned event, I can find foreshadowed pandemic in Hollywood movies, pop culture. And I have made videos on this, showing foreshadowing the pandemic, which is another crisis that they planned in advance. 9/11, they foreshadowed that too, meaning before they did 9/11, they were hinting at in Hollywood movies. And I've seen several instances of this. And don't be surprised if I make more videos showing you instances of foreshadowing 9/11, because that's how the deep state operate. If they plan to do something major, they will hint at it. They will hide in plain view. They will foreshadow it. So foreshadow means hinting at what's coming in the future. Okay. So some instances of foreshadowing of the deep state planning advanced 9/11 attacks was Always, an airplane movie released in 1989. I made a video on that. 7 videos actually, showing the foreshadowing. Die Hard is another instance of foreshadowing 9/11 attacks. And don't be surprised if I make more videos on this topic. Here, even the movie poster of the Die Hard movie. So this movie, released 1989, contains foreshadow of the 9/11 attacks. It was released 1988. Okay, 1988. Even the poster itself is foreshadow of the 9/11 attacks. And if you look at the movie, there's a lot of foreshadow 9/11. So Die Hard, the first movie, also the Die Harder, the second movie, is a very target-rich environment for 9/11 decodes, 9/11 foreshadowing decodes. So Die Hard, the first movie released 1988, that's one of the clearest examples of foreshadow 9/11 attacks. Even the poster itself, and I watched the movie several times, and it contains foreshadowing. So 9/11 was an inside job. I can show foreshadowing of 9/11 in Hollywood movies, which means what? The same deep state that control Hollywood and who planned 9/11 in advance and made it happen, they hinted at it. They worked little cryptic hints of the coming 9/11 attacks they had planned more than a decade before they did it, before they pulled it off. So 9/11 was planned in advance more than a decade before they did it. They brought it down with explosives. It was a controlled demolition. And before they did it, they hinted at what was going to happen. They were warning you, quote unquote, in Hollywood movies more than a decade before they did it. Always, Die Hard 2, 7 movies. So, who controls Hollywood? Not Al Qaeda. It's not Al Qaeda who controls Hollywood. Problem reaction solution. The deep state planned 9/11 more than a decade, more than 10 years in advance. It's a crisis. Then they use the media and politicians they control to control and steer the reaction of the masses, the public. Problem, reaction, then they provide a solution. So they create the problem, 9/11, then they use the media and politicians they control to control the public's reaction. Then they provide a solution. here's what we need to do: go to war with Iraq and Afghanistan, and we have to de-Americanize America, take your freedoms away, rights away. So 9/11 was an inside job, plan in advance, foreshadow. Foreshadow means telling you ahead of time what's going to happen. And Die Hard is one movie containing foreshadowing of the 9/11 attacks. And unlike the They Live movie, we got one that can see, only in the Matrix. I can see the code and see what it says. That's why I can make videos on foreshadow the pandemic, see foreshadow 9/11 Hollywood movies, see the hidden in plain view truth in other Hollywood movies. I'm a decoder. I made several decodes, movie analysis, movie theories, film theory, decode Hollywood movies. Another movie I've decoded is the No Kind of Format movie. And that ties into my Django Unchained decode too. So Django Unchained, the Quentin Tarantino movie, and No Kind of Format movie by the Coen brothers. Both of these deal with the agenda by the deep state to have the masses eating a high sugar diet. And sugar dumps you down. It keeps you kind of in a sugar haze. It keeps you down and makes it less likely that you be able to see the truth if you're a high sugar diet. Even if I make videos showing you the truth, you're less likely to be able to see the truth, even if somebody's helping you to see it. If you're a high sugar diet, you're vitamin deficient, so on and so forth. So 9/11 was an inside job, planned in advance, foreshadowed, as other Illuminati deep state crises have been. The pandemic, I call it the pandemic because they planned in advance. And I can show you foreshadow of the pandemic in Hollywood movies. So you need to subscribe to my Rumble channel. I might make some streams up ahead revisiting this issue and show you scenes. Okay, a lot of times when I do the live streams, the decodes, I do it from memory and I talk about scenes. This scene that this happens in the movie, and one of the scenes they show you this and that foreshadowing. Now I might in the future make live streams showing foreshadow the 9/11 attacks and then prepared and then have scenes and show you actual clips from Hollywood movies and show the foreshadowing I've done that before. So that's the end of the video. 9/11 was an inside job, foreshadow, planned in advance, and the pandemic was as well. Now a lot of people are dumb. A lot of people are dumb. The masses are dumb, wicked, ignorant, and they don't want to wake up. And they're basically following blind leads of the blind. A lot of Christians are following blind leads of the blind. Leaders that can't see this truth, which means they can show you. So let's go back to the video. Subscribe to my Rumble account if you want to see my decode movies. There's some live streams and content that I make upload to Rumble that you had to be subscribed to my Rumble to be able to watch them.